today's video about our future. So if we are going to live long, or probably indefinitely long, we have to think about our future. What can we expect in future? And as always, I try to convince you that first you have to download presentation and read it, because it has some references, but also it is more easy to understand the subject if you are reading, to my opinion. I put also text with references and with links and the sound, so you can save time listening to my sound. But also about video, mostly when I watch a YouTube video, I put double speed and or a little bit maybe less, it depends on the on the video, but I am not listening at normal speed. So it's because, again, I value my time, I try to save it. Yeah, well, so it is now, it is again, we will speak about future. I was doing some number of videos, pardon, in past 2 years ago about future, and so I'm returning to this because, again, we are concerning, we are just thinking what we are and what we can expect in future. So we are living in truly amazing times, which I consider as the peak of development of the human civilization. Peak. The further life will be never better. There will be never, old good times will never return. So, and the life, at least 2019, it was relatively comfortable for the majority of the world population. Food was produced in abundance, and the number of people suffering from obesity was only growing, and while people living in conditions of insufficient food were few, excluding probably North Korea, and they always suffer from malnutrition, and the communist countries, they cannot produce enough food. I was born in Soviet Union, in former Soviet Union, and I am not as tall as I can be because of food shortages. I am only 172 centimeters. My sister, when we moved to another area of Soviet Union, my sister 2 centimeters taller than me. My sister, younger sister. So it is again, so food shortages are quite normal in communist country, but it is now coming to everywhere. I believe it will come to everywhere. So let's go. The limits of population growth. So the number of people suffering from obesity is growing. People living in conditions of insufficient food are very few, despite the fact that population in some countries is growing uncontrollably. The limits of population growth were pointed out by some thinkers at the end of 18th century, 200 years ago, more than 200 years ago. Thomas Malthus assumed that in conditions of sufficient food, population will grow exponentially, but the ability to produce food grows only linearly, and moreover it is limited by the area of arable land. Therefore, he predicted famine, wars and revolutions in the middle of 20th century, and followed by a sharp decrease in the population. So indeed, he was thinking, okay, indeed all biological species in nature live in conditions of fluctuations in the number of species or in a number of individuals, of the creatures, and this applies not only to mammals but also to insects and even to wild plants. So this was Thomas Malthus, and he made such plot that the population grows exponentially, resources like food production grows linearly, and then he said, okay, it will be in 20th century. And again, as I said, all species have fluctuations of the population. Some are shorter period, some are longer period. And based on computer models, peaks in wealth, food per capita, and industrial production and life expectancy were predicted in 1972 for about years to 2010, 2020. Yeah, just let's look at this plot. So it was some quite simple computer model. It didn't make any assumption of some technological advances. And it was in the, so it was 50 years ago, they tried to give some forecast, some foresee of future, and then they made these peaks, and the population will come to the maximum 2050, and but food production and industrial production will peak about our time. The reason for the further decline in these parameters after year 2010 is considered to be the depletion of the planet resources. Actually, I don't agree. I will explain it later. At the same time, according to these estimates, the population will peak only 2050, as I said, with subsequent sharp decline because of food shortages, and the industrial production will drop. However, the real reason for decline of civilization is not depletion of resources, to my opinion, but a sharp reduction in intellectual abilities of modern people. Indeed, the world population is determined by the level of energy consumption per capita. So all food production is related to energy. And from the middle of 19th century, during the years of the Industrial Revolution, when fossil fuels like coal and oil and began to be used as a source of energy, the world population started to increase dramatically. And the use of fossil fuels is still growing because we have population growing, and despite the fact that other promising energy sources have appeared. Above all, it is nuclear power plants. Indeed, according to estimations, the proven reserves of thorium and uranium should be sufficient at least for 200 years, or at least for 200 years, of accelerated development of energy sector. We have enough energy, more than enough. So this was predictions, and you see population is peaking 2050, and pollution growing, and food for capita already got to maximum, and already in the model it should drop. And this is a plot that how the population was growing. So you see from the middle of 19th century, then we see some increase of energy production, and then about middle of 20th century it was coming up like very fast. Okay, you see population and energy consumption growing very quick. If we check what kind of source of energy, what kind of energy was used, so mostly it is crude oil, mostly, and coal. Nuclear energy should be growing much, but it is not. Why? Let's discuss it. So you see, population growth started when there was some technology advances, when science get to development of some. First it was steam machine, and then further, so that we have this now very quick computers and railroads, and then etc. telephone, automobile. And nowadays number of jobs which needs high education and high IQ, high development of intelligence is growing very quick, while even high education but not specialized in computer and mathematics occupations is quite steady. Meanwhile, you see this IQ is dropping steadily around the world, and when it will get to like 87, 2040, this is a critical point, because 87 is kind of limit that people can do any job. Not so in army the limit is 83, so they don't take any people below 83, because these people cannot do anything. They're just troublemakers. Okay, this, as I said, intellectual abilities of people have been declining since the middle of 19th century, because I was explaining in my older videos, because we have no selection, we have no natural selection since then. And today people have already lost the ability to support technologies developed in 60s and 70s of the 20th century. First of all, this applies to nuclear power plants. After all, not only the development of nuclear power plants requires a high level of intellectual development and advanced education, but also operation of such plants. An example of what can happen during the operation of a nuclear power plant by unqualified personnel is the disaster at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, where despite the protest of the Academy of Sciences of Soviet Union and specialized Ministry of Medium Machine Building, this was Ministry for nuclear development, for nuclear weapons and all the weaponry. Then, despite of these protests, the operation of the station was transferred by Communist Party to the Ministry of Energy of the Ukrainian Republic. And a person who was appointed as the director of the nuclear power plant had neither specialized education, no experience in working at nuclear power plants. He had no idea what to do with nuclear. And the rest of the crew was quite of the same kind. Later on, after the disaster, after the catastrophe, this person was charged with violating of safety rules, but it's nothing. It's nothing. He was serving some time in jail, but not much. Actually, again, we see when people with low intellectual abilities and with no special training are coming to power, coming to be some people who decide about very powerful technologies, then everything can crash out. This is typical nuclear power stations. They are really green. They don't produce CO2. They don't produce any pollutions, only steam, because they produce a lot of not only electricity but also heat. And this heat, they evaporate water to get rid of the excess of the heat. And then, again, it is really good technology, and we have almost unlimited resources to grow. And I see, and the operation is quite needs some good development of intelligence, so intellectual development, and yeah, so. And the disaster was such that these people, unqualified personnel, they destroyed the nuclear power station. They destroyed, not so many people died, but there was a lot of nuclear pollution around, and then all the terrible effect what was created that around the world nuclear power stations stopped, or now it is outlaw so that to make nuclear power stations. And again, intellectual abilities of people on average continue to decline catastrophically. The reasons are usually hushed up by mass media propaganda, because it is racist, yeah, sure, racist, and people believe that, okay, they believe that all humans are the same. No, sorry, not. Meanwhile, these reasons are very easy visible. Fertility is high in countries where the average IQ is relatively low. And as we can see from the comparison of these maps following, which shows the distribution of average IQ and the number of children per woman around the world, we can see it. Okay, so we see that IQ, blue, only in blue, very high, above 100, only in China, green and a little bit blue. China, Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, few countries. And the Caucasians, white people, have about 100 in average, and the rest of the world is yellow, and Africa is all green, red. Red means red and even brown, so the IQ is even below 70. Pardon me, but this is retarded. And then the fertility rate is again highest in Africa, in some Muslim countries also. With people, again, you look Muslim countries, and they have IQ in range of 80 with something, but they have very high fertility rate. Okay, this is a real problem. That population grows, and it grows because of many more low IQ people are were born. And again, IQ is genetically dependent at least 80% or more. So if a child gets proper food for his development, the IQ is almost the same as of his or her parents. Even one parent is enough. If one parent is smart enough, the child will have high IQ. This is like dominant gene, high IQ. So, and then again, migrants from Africa and Middle East are moving in masses to the countries of European Union. And now it is even to America, from Latin America, but also from Middle East. And there are even more illegal migrants in Western Europe who live in tents. So, and the legal migrants are so-called undocumented migrants. So it is just some people coming. And this slide, you see, these people are coming. Just any boat or ship transfer millions and millions of people from Africa. They are not coming to work. They are not going to work. There is no work for them. If IQ below 87, there is no job in modern world for such people. They are troublemakers. And this is a street in Paris. I love Paris. It's a beautiful city, but I was there last time, maybe something about 15 years ago, and I didn't see this. But already there were quite many Arabs and Africans in the city. And again, it is not racist. It is not so racist. It is science. This science, the distribution of IQ for African population is peaking about 80 or something. It's in average, because some countries are below 70. And 85, but they are strong. They are physically stronger. Okay? They're physically stronger because to survive in Africa, this is what was necessary: physical strength and health. White Europeans have different distribution. Why? Because again, you check how much suffering was in past, how many diseases and cold climate to survive in such conditions. Not easy. Also, if you watch my older videos, then you will see that the Christian Church contributed a lot to increase the IQ, because they decided to kill. I mean to kill criminals and also witches, and then it was actually selection of the worst. So 2-3% of population every year were cut down, and this was the worst individuals. So every time it was for centuries, it was moving to the right side, to the high IQ, and then we have 100. It is yet not enough. It is not yet enough. For in future we need much more. Okay, and again, this undocumented illegal migrants, they are getting quite decent housing, food, medical care, and money for additional expenses. They send in some of this money back to home. And while again in Germany, people complaining that local retirees are literally begging because the retirement pension is not growing, and but inflation eats up the pension, and they have to pay for increasing prices for living, for apartment. And I remember that when I was in Germany, some older people who were hardworking all their life, they have not enough money even for food and to pay for an apartment and everything. So it is disaster what is happening in the Europe, and it is only beginning. There will be more. Okay, and also despite the fact that honest scientists and experts shows that global cooling is expected rather for period 2035-2065. We are coming to the grand solar minimum and to the global cooling. The myth about global warming and the dangers of carbon dioxide and methane emission from coals into the atmosphere is being inflated. Please, my old video in English. Watch my old video in English. Yeah, so I was explaining this. This is all just junk science. It is not science, actually, absolutely not. But what we can expect is the former bartender and now deputy of the United States House of Representatives, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. Yeah, this is a girl. This is a girl. There's an absolutely incredibly stupid person. Incredibly. This I can tell as a scientist. I am a scientist myself. I can listen. I can understand what she is proposing. This Green New Deal. It will ruin so many businesses, small businesses. It will ruin. It will bring collapse to America. But maybe this is a goal. And also 17-year-old girl with autism and probably the Down syndrome, Greta Thunberg. This girl is an expert with no education, with no brain. This is an expert in weather, not in weather, but in climate. Now that we have this time when global warming, there was global warming from 70s to about 2010, and then it is kind of plateau and already coming down. In Canada, you can see quite cold climate already coming, but yet we have, because of this transition, we have very unstable climate. That's the droughts and very hot days are coming, and then we have very cold days, and etc. etc. Some record variations of temperature between hot and cold. But again, in not too long, we'll get really in cold climate. Okay, then even former U.S. Vice President Albert Gore, Al Gore, looks like an intellectual in comparison with these so-called new experts, despite the fact that almost all of his predictions on climate change were untenable. That's all wrong. This guy was telling us that all the Arctic area will be with no ice, and there will be some continental shores will be underwater. It is not working, but okay. He got his millions. He got this money. He got his money for this propaganda. Okay. Also, the purpose of so-called sustainable development, that people are encouraged to drastically reduce consumption of fossil fuels for energy and reduce number of poultry and livestock, like cows. At the same time, development of nuclear energy is not planned at all because of ongoing and accelerating stupidity of humans in average. Okay, at least they understand that for our population, we cannot use nuclear power. Not at all. So the IQ is too low. People are too stupid for nuclear power plant. And these windmills, they only kill some birds and flying insects. They are very unreliable because wind is blowing, they produce electricity, and no wind, no electricity. The same for solar panels. And then these blades of the turbines are not recyclable. They just put it somewhere but they are not recyclable. They only poison water and soil. They make so much damage to environment, so much. Okay, then again, the proposed use of solar, wind, and water energy does not hold up to scrutiny. Pardon my English. Okay, again, then it is again if we try to, again, to reduce impact of humans to environment, it is, again, good people can do it. I have my proposal to change engine oils and to reduce friction. Nobody supported me, nobody. And despite it is saving fuel and it is extending longevity of engines and other machines 10, 20, 50 times in principle. But nobody is interested to support it. Because what tax you can make, and also the number of cars and other engines should drop to production, so it is not good for business, for growing business. Business cannot grow. But again, if you claim something like sustainable, why you put people? So it is to high living cost and actually make their life to nightmare, turn their life to nightmare. Again, this is not about a sustainable future. It is something else. Okay, then what else? As industrial production have to be cut, then engineering education also becoming unnecessary for most of people, and we see it's again homeschooling yet an option, so you can educate your kids in principle, but the public schools are nightmare. And since the level of energy consumption and population size are related, then we're actually talking about population collapse. No, slow of course. I do not expect wars, but rather extension of the lockdowns introduced last year, 2019, and 2012, 2020 last year. And now the lockdowns will be for the sake of preserving the environment, because that is to force people to live inside prison cells, which are still called personal apartments, but there will be no personal apartments in future because all will belong to government. It is like in Soviet Union. You will live in small apartment, and at least in Soviet Union you can go out, you can go to forest, you can travel a little bit. No, not so far, not with airplane, but you can travel. Not anymore. The people will stay in these small apartments, and then the films or movies, The Fifth Element and Hunger Games show us such a world in future. It is not the worst, because Matrix movie gave us maybe much better understanding what will be the future. You see, this is quite comfortable apartment. It has a shower, it has microwave oven, and a place to sit, and place to even for exercises, and not very bad. But in the worst we will have this very small boxes where people will stay unable to move, unable to get out. And you see, as we are talking about reduction of energy production, then we have to reduce population, because if we now coming back to energy production of 150 years ago, about end of 19th century, then the population will be cut from 7-8 millions now to less than 2 millions, probably to only to 1 billion people. But again, slowly, not instantly. Okay, we already live in the world shown in the film Idiocracy. The population is losing the skills for creative work and becomes unable to maintain high technologies. The presence of internet, mobile phones, smartphones, and iPhones should not deceive anyone. The vast majority of the owners of these mobile devices are incapable of either programming or creating such devices. And in future, most of the population will be incapable of any creative, meaningful job. Does it mean that we will go through the period of collapse of civilization with lack of food, with food shortages, with the destruction of infrastructure, hunger riots, and even through cannibalism, to the devolving humans to the level of primates? To such a stage, and to primates, so that we will be all vegetarians, we'll eat some leaves, some green stuff, and live in environment and in equilibrium, in balance with environment, yeah, like monkey, like these primates. Okay, let's see, but I don't think so. Again, I propose you to watch my my old videos in which I already talked about the future of civilization. This is artificial intelligence and IQ and mice human paradise and the mice. This is again my consideration 2 years ago, how it will go, that there is such danger, but now I'm more optimistic. Now I'm better. Okay, as a human civilization, we already have been through a catastrophic decline in living standards and technology. This was during the collapse of the Roman Empire. And now, the same as now, the reasons for the collapse of a powerful empire was a toughness, thoughtless increase in public spending and kind of welfare for the lower strata of the empire population, which did not work but received bread and shows. And then there was a next decline in birth rate among the educated elite and the degeneration of the ruling elite. Also, the rates of barbaric hordes are attributed to the causes of the death of the collapse of the great civilization. I still believe that the decline in birth rates and the reluctance of Roman citizens to serve in the army that defended the borders of the empire and ensured this, also there was a supply of free labor in the form of slaves. This were main reasons. So this life of people in relatively comfortable conditions leads to their rapid degeneration. This is a rule. Dr. Calhoun drew the attention of people to this in his experiments with mice, which were provided with paradise conditions of existence without predators and with abundance of food and place to live. But after 10 generations, the mouse civilization began to fade away, and after 25 generations, entire colony of mice was gone, was destroyed. All mice died. Not because of infectious diseases, but only because of the lack of natural selection of mice, and that only strongest and most active animals should have offspring. Please watch my videos, and in more details you will get the idea. And if we take 25 years for the time of human generational change, then we have not yet come to the point to no return, and we have yet a chance to preserve civilization. So as species, not to degrade, not to devolve to monkeys. Of course, eugenics as a policy of encouraging overproduction of smarter and healthier citizens was condemned by the Nuremberg Tribunal, and it's still considered immoral in the Western world because it's considered everybody can procreate, everybody should be equal. And it is, however, it is practiced in some countries such as China, Singapore, but also without significant success. Because again, if government is involved, nothing works. Eugenics as a name disappeared and was replaced with other names like genetic engineering, genetic correction, and Charles Darwin was a supporter of eugenics. And I believe that the forced introduction of eugenics is futile. This never works. Again, if government involved, it is disaster. But there is a hope that what we consider as signs of the decline of our civilization will give us ground for its salvation. Not now, but still in near future, and we can live that time yet. So this was a population in the mouse colony, and far below the capacity of the cage, far below this size of the experiment, of the environment, far below, and it declined, the rate of reproduction dropped, and then eventually all mice self-extinction. Okay, then, as you know, signs of the organic degeneration of Western civilization were primarily the emergence and strengthening of such phenomenon as feminism. This teaching invites people to forget about their natural role in society as mothers and guardians of the home, but to achieve gender equality. That is, to take on the role of men, to get equality education, to achieve career growth and the position of a leader in society and the family. The family is also, especially the family. But also to the fact that young men who strive for an abundance of sexual intercourse, young women practice promiscuous, unrestricted sexual intercourse with many partners. Because modern contraceptives and abortions allow this, and the mass propaganda is intensively introducing these ideas into the head of young girls, then what we have. However, it ends with the fact that women who have achieved career growth cannot find a partner for themselves to create a family. The similar situation with those girls who went through riding a CC, you understand what is CC? And having up to 100 sexual partners. These girls are lost. These are trash. So you see what they claim. My pussy, my rule. This is what they want. They want to be a leader in society and a leader in the family also. And you see here some feministic men. I will talk about them also. Yeah, certainly no one woman would stay with such a man. Okay, indeed, biologically, women are looking for men who are higher in status in society than themselves. Even if we take 10 steps, 10 gradations of social status, it is like women always looking for 2 steps up. For a man which has status 2 steps up, like a woman with average appearance and average health, like 5, they are looking for men above 7, 8, and etc., etc. So, and the men with high social status are more likely to choose a young girl without education and with good health and agreeable personality. Nobody wants troubles. Nobody wants to have a feminist as a wife. I mean, good men would not do it. And the best choice for marriage is to marry a virgin, because virgin have a bond. And indeed the duration of marriage is determined by the strength of the psychological bond and dependence of the wife on her husband. Meanwhile, in modern society, marriage is extremely dangerous for a man. In the case of a divorce, he risks losing not only more than half of his earnings and savings, but also his children. Because in 90% of cases, the court decides to grant full custody of the children to the mother and to force the husband to pay child care and alimony to his ex-wife. With rare exceptions, the father loses opportunity to see the children even several times a month, and the ex-wife will will teach children against the father. So, okay, we have divorce facts. It is, again, if you marry, in average it is more than 45% divorce rate, and the first marriage 42%, second marriage the probability of the divorce 60%, third marriage is 73%. Okay, then fourth marriage even not considered. Yeah, and in average, people are getting divorced in the age of 30, and after the divorce, some wait 3 years and then try to marry again, and again failure. That's and also again the time of marriage is growing. Girls near their genetic limit to produce a healthy child. they are getting married in average 28. So the probability to have a healthy child is maybe 15% from the time when they were like 21, 22. And for men it is older, 30 years, first marriage. And number of divorces is growing, and the also most dangerous is the so-called great divorce, when people are getting divorced in older age, 50 plus, and it is growing. Such great divorces are growing in numbers. Okay, unsurprisingly, more and more young men choose to ignore women and never marry. In the West, this movement is called MGTW. OW, these men go their own way. The time of the white knights who are ready to sacrifice their lives for the sake of a woman is already in the past. For those who have not yet understood this and trying to achieve intimacy with a woman, pleasing them, her desires and whims, there is a mocking nickname, simp, from sympathy. And we see such men in the photo of demonstration of feminists. But the funny thing is that such men are despised by the women themselves. Biologically, women are inclined to engage in sexual relation with so-called alpha males, who either by their appearance or by their success in society or by sometimes by behavior show their dominant position in the society. By the way, criminals in prison sometimes have several loyal mistresses who patently evade them from a jail and ready to conceive a child from such an inmate. I see it everywhere. I mean, it's not only America, it's in Russia also the same. So it is genetically women are considered some such men, violent men, such behaving like he is an alpha male, and they genetically always considered to have a child from him. Despite this is a criminals, stupid criminals, absolutely disaster in the life of a woman. Okay, this is what men go their own way. What they try to do, they try to fight feminism, but it's actually dead end. In this time when man was serving an angel wife is over. Only idiots can do it. Absolutely idiots. And I am one of them. I was married 3 times, but the last one was a complete catastrophe. Right? And I was too nice to my wife. Again, feminism and all these directions are just dead end. They will not go, they will not develop to anything good. And simp, it is again a short for sympathy, and it means that those men who are trying with all their resources and might to get attention and sexual favor of women, a kind of such men, it is a beta orbiters, and the faithful friends of a married woman who hope for sexual intimacy with a married woman after her divorce or during her marriage. Yeah, my wife had one at least. Traditional families with many children are still the norm in religious communities. These are both Amish and traditional Catholics, and with some admission Mormons can be included here, although some of the Mormons practice polygamy. Okay, what we have this simps. Yeah. And this again a simp who is trying to get the intercourse with a woman instead of developing his body, developing his mind, and to be a man, but he's not doing it. Okay, this is Amish. I like them very much. They have good families and big families, a lot of children. 10 children is not a limit, sometimes more. And this, as a Christian, I would love to have such family. I always was wanting it. And traditional Catholics, again, here we have 4 children, normally it is up to 8, 10, like the same Amish. It is good people, but it is not easy to find a wife who is a traditional Catholic. Nowadays it is unicorn. Okay, biologically women tend to share the attention of one alpha male with other women. And such families, albeit unofficially, are more and more common in Western countries. And in Muslim countries, polygamous families, when a man has up to 4 wives, is the norm. And Prophet Muhammad himself had 21 or 23 wives. And there are also polygamous families when one woman shared by several men. Traditionally, this form of polygamous family, when 2 or more siblings are married to one woman, has traditionally been adopted by Tibetans in Nepal, China, and northern India. And this is named polyandry. This polyandry is becoming also more and more common in the modern Western world. Especially with, sometimes it is a wife, when a wife has a lover, and who may even live in the same house as her husband, while husband works and provides for all of them. This is such a polygamy, then 4 women in age of like 40 decided to stay with one man about the same age or even younger. And this is opposite, that's better providers. They work all together and they share one woman. Oh well, okay, good luck to them. And again, according to Dr. Calhoun experiment, we see an increase in homosexual relationship among both men and women, and also time of homosexuality transvestites are those people who for some reason would like to change their sex. Again, among mice it is impossible, but we have medical care, we have such treatment that you can get hormones and it's medical operation and can change your sex. And this is, normally it is trauma in childhood is usually the case of such behavior. For example, if the child grew up with a single mother or he grew up in a family with a stepfather instead of biological father. So it is, again, if our society collapsing, the kids are damaged. Well, and then again, Christianity and Judaism divorce. In Christianity and Judaism, divorce was strongly condemned, but with the loss of authority of the religion, divorce is practically encouraged by the state. And indeed, women are much more likely to file for divorce, and divorced husband suffers both financial and psychological losses, especially when there is a so-called great divorce, as I said, the divorce in older age. And the women are practically rewarded for the divorce. So it's again why roughly half of Americans are single now, and more. And even this number of families includes the homosexual families like this and this. Even with this number of homosexual families, the number of married people in America less than half. Okay, then again, reasons for men not to marry are clear and well-grounded. The reasons for women to remain unmarried and become cats and dogs mother in older age are also understandable. Okay, they want to be like men, and they are finishing up with to be single. And such society, since society is made up of monogamous families, I previously believed that Western society is developing towards its complete collapse. However, there is hope that we as species will survive and to be able to overcome these temporary difficulties. The way out in the selection of the best individuals for breeding, but it is not eugenics. Okay, but again, not compulsory, not government involved, as eugenics apologists suggest, but it should be voluntary. And this selection already begun. So far, homosexual couples are most active in this. Two male partners often their own child using the services of a surrogate mother instead of adopting someone else's child. Because any man, I mean quite many men want to have a child, and they want to have own child, they want to see, to get procreations, to see some own child, to see himself in the child. Yeah, it is quite normal. It's for me also the same. This is what I wanted always. And again, then in practice, this practice is condemned in some countries, but the market is growing. In Cambodia, you can find the surrogate mother and pay all the costs associated with artificial fertilization of an egg. And egg donors usually receive between 5,000 up to 10,000 American dollars. And the entire service of the surrogate mother will cost another 10,000 American dollars. So it's relatively affordable. And again, 90% of all the divorces are initiated by college-educated women. That's why Muslims do not educate their women. Okay, and then again, this is what we see, almost 50% of population are unmarried. And why the women decide about stay single? For many reasons. They're independent, successful women. They don't want to stay with one man, better to enjoy this CC, riding CC. And they're ugly, they're unhealthy. Nobody wants to get such a wife. Okay, then this is successful woman who got mother for cats and dogs. But again, with getting a child for a man, there are some problems. You have difficulties to select quality eggs. In Russia, an egg donor can receive 150,000 rubles. That is about 1,500, 2,000 American dollars. This should be common point. Okay, 2020. In Ukraine, up to its prices are cheaper, up to 1,500 American dollars. In Southeast Asian countries, prices might be lower, but there is a problem with the quality of genetic materials. Like in Cambodia, you know that the Khmer Rouge, the Red Khmer, the communists killed almost 30% of their population. They killed the best. And now we have these Cambodians, genetically not the best strata, not the best people. You can find this good-looking girl in there, but quality of brain is under question. Okay, but again, if you decide, you can do it. Also, again, in some countries like Japan, Indonesia, it's getting popular. Getting popular. This sorry, it is sperm donor. Okay, this other subject a little bit. Okay, some successful and again the sperm donation with artificial insemination is much more common. This is what I say. In some countries it is very common, like Japan, Indonesians. They want to have a baby from white people, not just white people, but good-looking men with some brain and successful businessmen with money, and they even pay, not pay, it depends, but at least for free you can do it. In Mongolia, the same. You can go to Mongolia and to conceive, to be a father for many children, but in traditional way, not pay anything. Okay, then again, some successful donors are already fathering over 700 children, requesting as little as 300 American dollars per person. Mothers are so-called successful women who have never found a suitable marriage partner, and also lesbian couples. So far, in the selection of the donor is mainly based on his appearance and state of health, but examples of successful donors who are fathers of over 100 children are on this slide. This is again surrogate mother for homosexual couple, and this like advertisement in Russian that they are looking for donors of eggs, and they pay 100,000 Russian rubles, so it is almost 1,500 American dollars per egg. But again, yeah, let's look. Yeah, moment. This artificial, this homosexual couples, they can decide to have sperm from some men like this and this. That both men have more than 100 children already. Okay, then, okay, let me go down. And again, now it is again only appearance, maybe status, maybe if it is a successful businessman, it also can help. But yeah, if men get 700 children and asked for 300 American dollars per portion, probably he gave more than 1,000 per portion, so he is already some, not wealthy, but already have some money. Okay, this is a way to make money if the good-looking man. And okay, but I'm sure that in the future the level of intelligence will also become a criterion. And after all, the level of intelligence is 80%, as I said, dependent on the genetics of the parents. And even if one parent alone has high IQ, then the IQ gene seems to be dominant, and then it will be, yeah, the child will be most probably high IQ also. Therefore, it makes sense to choose a father not just a man of pleasant appearance, but also with brains in his head. And some geniuses of mankind were distinguished by their attractive appearance. Example like this, I said, Isaac Newton and Richard Feynman. Brilliant people, absolutely fantastic brain, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, they have IQ 180, kind of it, almost maybe 200. This artificial insemination, I tried it, yeah, and it didn't work for my wife. Surprisingly, I must admit the salvation of the humanity can come from the same phenomenon as that led to the decline of Western civilization, to the feminism. And just as in the past, the natural promiscuity of women will ensure the selection of the best genes for the continuation of the human race. Again, we were going through this promiscuity. You can complain about this, but this is just how we developed. That women were selecting the best fathers, the best men, alpha male for reproduction. This is quite natural, and they are like genetically inclined to do it. And but in future it will be even more with this sperm donors. And dark side of this phenomenon is that from 80 to 95%, or maybe 80, 98% of men in future will not have their own children, but at best will participate in the upbringing and of another man's children. So if they are like better providers, they can stay in group, like 4 or 5 men. They can provide for one woman with many children from different sperm donors. Yeah, if they choose it, it is the best luck to them. The alternative is to spend a lot more money, yeah, in comparison, not 300, and some donors propose for free. And the alternative is to spend a lot of more money to purchase a high quality egg and services of the surrogate mother. So again, starting together maybe 20,000 American dollars, maybe more. Yeah, it's already, again, if you will get your own child, you will have no fear to lose it, to lose the child in a divorce. It will be your own child. There are still obstacles in the fact that if the child is a girl, and then the court has the right to take the child from her father and place her, a girl, in an orphanage or foster family under the pretext of protecting the child abuse. And but I believe this temporary phenomenon should be changed somehow. And moreover, if a man is a wealthy person, then he can hire an elderly woman, nanny, to care for a child, for a girl, and stay in the same house. It is some women are going again. Even my ex-wife second wife, she said, okay, you don't want to stay with me. I mean, she made the divorce, but eventually she regret very much, and she like loves me, probably. And she told me, okay, you married again, just let me, allow me to come when you have your own children, to come and be a nanny for your kids. Because I love you, I want to take care of your kids. Yeah, this is good idea, good idea. But again, my third wife appeared to be infertile, no kids. But okay, well, let's see. Again, yet I keep in mind that it is possible. It is possible to get to buy egg, human egg, and then to find some surrogate mother, pay for everything, and to get your own child, and maybe to invite my ex-wife or somebody else who will take care of the child officially. Because if I work, then again, I'm 64 now, but again, all this my rejuvenation program in part, not completely, but in part, is inspired by this desire to return to my younger age, to look younger, to work better and to harder, and even to make more money, and again to create this opportunity that at last I could be like a normal Christian, like this old tradition Catholic. I'm not Catholic, but I'm Christian. I always wanted to have kids, but I have only one son. But again, I don't want to go into details. But girls nowadays, they want maximum one child. One child is enough. They don't want to work. They okay, no problem. Go work, stay alone, stay. Be this successful woman, and with cats and dogs, like my third wife for now. She has no child, no kids, and but have many cats and dogs. I love dogs also, but they are not kids. Okay, then again, what we see, the privileged position of women in society yet remains. How long, we don't know. I think it will change as soon as this family will be replaced by this artificial parents, artificial surrogate mother, and donors of sperm, then donors of eggs. And we're coming to this, you will see. It is again only developing, but we have a very powerful selection of the best. Because previously governments were, the state governments encourages a negative selection of people, especially in Russia. It was so hard that smart people were not able to procreate. They were getting less money, they were shamed, and this is what we see in America. It's growing, that white people should not have children. And again, any woman is going to this promiscuity, and they cannot have a family. No, cannot have family. But okay, it's again, we're developing from this stage of family to some new age, new development of our society. I believe so. But again, I believe we will come through. So this deep hole, because this drop in IQ cannot go too far. We're already in the limit. And what you see around, this is what you see, that as Bill Gates said, vaccination will save the world. It will, these new vaccines which produce these spike proteins, they will reduce fertility. Let's make all children to this vaccine, and no fertility at all. Yeah, this is this person. Bill Gates considered himself as a hero, and he expect to get this appreciation and then Nobel Prize for the world, it's incredible, just incredible. But okay, it's okay. This is what they are doing now. If you're smart enough, if you're healthy, then again, you follow my program, and this is So you can read it, because again, what is coming is food shortages. And also when leftists come into power, you will see the same as in Venezuela. Or you will see the same like in Russia and China. Millions and millions of people were starving for death. This is what we see in North Korea now. North Korea is suffering now from food shortages, awfully much. Everywhere communists are in power, leftists in power, it is a disaster, because there is a high selection of the worst, and the best people are killed or somehow kicked out from the country. This is what we have, and then the rest of the population will just shrink. Okay, then again, how is this my rejuvenation and wellness and the health program relates to this? It is easier for healthy and strong person to survive and overcome the dangers of the modern and future life. And it's again not for all. This program is not for all, because only 1/3 of people are interested in to extend life, and even fewer people are ready to do something for this. That is to change the diet and to go for regular exercise, buy dietary supplements and vitamins and medications, educate yourself in biology and read scientific literature. It's only few. Most people do not want to change anything in their life. And some of these people do what drastically shorten their life expectancy. They like drink large amounts of alcohol, smoke cigarettes, and follow the advice of medical doctors and the authorities, like to put mask to your face and to make an injection of this witch potion, which with spike proteins, which is again, it is genetically, it is not a vaccine actually. It is a virus. It is kind of virus which will produce spike proteins in your body, and these spike proteins are toxic. They will reduce your life expectancy, or they will make young women infertile. This is quite big danger. So you will not die instantly, you will not die quick, but your life expectancy, lifespan will shorten. This is what these people in power expect, and then it is, you see how it goes. Vaccination is compulsory. It is forced to people, and some idiots, useful idiots, they demand it. Okay, you make a vaccine, you believe it is safe, you make for yourself it 3 times, make to your children that you will not procreate, it is so good for you. And for society, for civilization, if these people will not procreate, but stay away from me. I know, I'm a doctor in science, I know what it is, okay? I can understand biology, I can understand how it works, and I also understand that we, technically speaking, we are not genetically programmed to die in age like 80. We can reverse this aging clock. We can reverse it. So, a recent experiment I discussed in my previous videos, they demonstrated this aging clock can be reversed. And in mice, rejuvenation was 50%, like age was reduced to half after just 4 injections of some proteins from blood of young mice or rats. And it works, again, it works. Again, it is in future, it will be available. Maybe it will be patented and will have money and will be kept secret. But again, if you understand, if you are a scientist, if you can think and you can read literature, specialized literature, then you can rejuvenate your body, even without big money. Again, it works. I work on it myself, and I already feel much better and stronger than I used to be. And I see my heartbeat rate and pressure, blood pressure. I cannot check more because I am limited in funds. I cannot check my genetic biological age. And but if I feel better, I know that okay, I do it right, and I'm testing and some substances on myself. I'm so crazy scientist that I always used some experiments, and I work in experimental science. So I do some experiments, but carefully I thinking, and but again, even before with mice you have to get some quite expensive tests like to check biological age, and this is expensive procedure. I cannot afford it, but again, if I do it on myself, yeah, I just feel it. I just feel it. I listen to my body, and if my endurance is growing, and my mood is growing, and my productivity, intellectual productivity is growing, and I feel great, then I know that I do it well. I do it right. Again, I would not recommend what I'm doing to anybody, because again, these individuals, anybody should find their own way, and I don't want to interfere. I want to interfere. There will be official research supported by rich people and who want to live forever. It is not yet developed technology. Otherwise, Bill Gates will use it. Now he looks like a shit. Again, he's the richest person, and his appearance is absolutely disgusting. Sorry. I don't know, in the same about some billionaires. So they just don't understand it. Okay, but they have money and they work to reduce population, and then this is what is happening around us, and it is developing and going quicker, and then my program is just, again, it is some help for people with high IQ and listeners, and then the people who watch my videos. This is some help what I can do. I do it for free, okay? I don't get any benefits from this, but I do it for free for people because somebody can use it, at least to improve health. Maybe not to reverse aging, but it's possible. Again, I give enough information to think about this, okay? To think and to cooperate in some maybe groups with this. But okay, this again, it is only for education. I don't praise. It is just my opinion, and don't rely on it. You better listen to your physician. And I'm not, if I use some pictures, again, I'm not having any benefit, so I don't violate patent rights. And again, I am not a physician. I don't give you advising to do what to do, okay? I just give you information and for you to think. Well, then thank you for watching the video and support of my channel. Please comment, subscribe, like, ask questions, and share information. It will be, for me, again, I'm in such situations that mostly I understood most of the problem and how to rejuvenate, how to slow down aging, and even how to rejuvenate, mostly. But again, now it is a time that from idea that, yeah, it is possible, theoretically possible, to get practical result. Yeah, practical result, and then to survive in this environment, which is, again, all to cut population, all to, and but again, cutting population is not very bad, not very bad. If you make selection, and the selection will go. Some smart people always find a way to get out of dangers. Yes, and they will survive. This is how it should selection, how selection of the best should go, of the smartest should go. And so I am, of course, not easy myself to watch this. It is like a crime to me. I'm immoral, completely immoral, but yet, okay, yet I consider, okay, this is nature. Nature always very, harsh, and selection, they do, nature makes selection very hard. And we are in kind of step of natural selection. It is kind of natural selection. Yeah. Okay. Have a wonderful day. See you next time.